What's up, everybody? You already know what it is. 33 Oak Productions in the building. Chasing Ohio's Giants in the building. Ohio's finest outdoor in the building. We in here. Man, we've had a great day just spending time in what I call the lab down here. My man that puts everything together has been working behind the scenes really hard for both of us. Those videos that we brought to you, man, it wouldn't go down without 33 Oak Productions, and that's one of the reasons we're here today. Right now, we're messing around, but one of the things we want to start is what's called Bass Talk. We're just going to do a maybe monthly, just get together, talk about some of our greatest catches, talk about mishaps, talk about things that really bloopers or things that went wrong while fishing.
Plenty of those.
and just have a good time, because there's nothing like your brothers that love to fish come together as one and just talk about fishing, man.
Absolutely.
And before we even got started today, my little cuz Crenshaw was talking about how Seth, who they were out fishing the other day, had a giant on and he broke his line, and he was getting on him about knot tying and learning how to tie the proper knots. Crenshaw, then what happened a couple minutes later?
Oh, man. Well, I rolled up on him and I was showing him how to tie my favorite knot. I would tell y'all about it, but it's top secret. And I tied my knot on and I threw right back in there where he was at. And I was like, well, let's see if he's still in there. My line got tight. And I broke one off on the hook set too. That 20-pound seagull, so.
They could keep that 20 pounds. What was so secret about that knot?
Whoever catches that fish got
shark.
They got 2 free lures. Whoever catches that one.
Yeah. That's a $40 fish. He got 2 jackhammers.
If you catch it, get a hold of Crenshaw.
Yes, sir.
Man, Logan, River Rat Bassn. Man, the other day, you inspired me, honestly, to go fishing, because we had conditions which none of us should have been out there fishing. None of us. We had
It was definitely sketchy.
tornado warnings throughout the whole state, most of the state of Ohio, and it was black. You stepped outside at 1 o'clock in the day, and it was black outside. Winds were howling.
Oh yeah.
Hailing out. It was crazy. What happened that day?
And I sent my boss a picture while I was there. I work at a golf course, and I was up on the green with my fishing pole. I was at a golf course pond. I said, "Is this how you golf? Because I don't golf at all." And he said, "I think you got the wrong stick." Then about 5 minutes later, I sent him a picture, and he's like, "Well, I think you got the right stick. You're just
The magic stick that is."
And but while I was at work, I was messaging my buddy, the fish doctor, Addison Red Light Taylor. Shout out to him.
Yes, sir.
He put us on some fish that day, and he had messaged me maybe a day or so prior, and he's like, "Hey, we got this cold front coming in. We got this big storm coming in. I'm going to hit these bass until this river is right to catch saw guy and all that." And I was like, "Bet, I'm on my way up whenever." And just so happened that day we had that big storm roll in. I'm sitting at work, I'm watching the radar because we always got the news on. I was like, man, I got to get up to Columbus. So I messaged him, went up to Columbus, we got together, went out to his spot, and it was pretty much lights out. I mean, up until the storm was done with. I was throwing a spinnerbait trying to find some, and I eventually found a nice, I think it was like 348 on the spinnerbait. It was all tucked up underneath the cattails, so they were real shallow in the murky water. Water was still kind of cold, but I mean they were chasing bait like crazy, and we caught, I think, 30 plus fish each. We set a goal before we even walked up to the ponds. It was 25 plus fish each, at least 1 5-pounder between the 2 of us, and 5 double ups.
Listen at this, y'all. Did y'all just hear what he said? They set a goal of 25 or 30 fish each, and you have to understand, bass are hard to catch this time of the year.
And
so I don't know where they went fishing,
and
but the pond must have been dynamite because you don't catch 40 or 50 bass this time of the year. Like, bro, I need on.
So the third day that he was in this spot, we produced that kind of fishing, and it was absolutely one of the best days of my life of fishing. These fish were so concentrated, and we picked up a pattern. They loved that spinner bait. All the males were at the mouths of the creek just waiting for stuff to flow in, and we figured out the females were backed off a little bit farther back on the creek channels, just preparing to spawn, but they were also just feeding up for pre-spawn, just waiting for that moment that they could move up. And as we were there, the cold front was pushing them farther and farther back, and we were just there at the right time. As soon as that pressure dropped. As soon as that little piece of pressure drops, it's the time to be there.
I tell a lot of you all the time, you ask me, how do I continue to catch these giant bass? And we're going to get back to Logan. And you heard him. He said something very key. The pressure drops. I'm telling you right now, it's a science.
Yep.
It's a science. You catch the right barometer with the right moon phase, and bingo has been called. It's lights out.
Lights out.
And more importantly, go ahead, Cren.
Fast forward.
Hold on, I'm gonna get to you. Hold on. You save that. Hold on, because I'm getting a Cren. But more importantly, Logan, it was a pressure drop, and you mentioned that. But honestly, what was going on? Sirens and when I left work, sirens were going off. Tell them about this pressure drop. It wasn't just a pressure drop. We shouldn't even been outside.
No, like before, it was kind of like calm, and I mean, it was a little rainy. You know, it wasn't too bad. Honestly, the average angler would be like, oh, I'm definitely going fishing. You know, people that aren't as passionate about it, or I would say hardcore or crazy, in my opinion.
Hardcore, that's my term, hardcore bass.
You gotta be a little crazy to do that type of stuff and be out in that type of weather. But, I mean, we were out there.
Tornado warnings.
If I didn't have my hood up, if I didn't have my waders on, if I didn't have my rain jacket on, couldn't have did it because it was so intense. I mean, the raindrops were, it felt like golf balls hitting me.
40 bass in a tornado warning with storms all around and hail. To about 3:18, I'm getting off of work and my phone buzzes. Bzz, bzz, bzz. And this time of the year, whenever my phone buzzes, I'm like, which one of my partners done caught a bass today while I'm at work? So I see, there's River Rat Bassn. I said, and an envelope popped up. I said, he got him one. And sure enough, he had a good fish.
584, I believe it was.
And that inspired me because I'm looking at the clouds, and I had my stuff with me in the truck, and I said, I'm flying down there, a 35-minute drive, to try to get me one before the second storm comes through. And I'm telling you right now, I pulled up to the pond, and it's dark as can be. It's storming. So I sat in my truck for another 15 minutes, let it pass, hurry up and get out. The conditions were perfect. That change of pressure you talked about had happened. Wind's blowing perfectly on this pond. I see the spot. I said, man, those fish have to be over there. I got my blue and black Blue Rock jig on. That's right. You see the hat, represent Jesse French. I paddle over there. I'm looking. I said, oh man, this storm's coming. A storm just went through, but I said, this second storm is moving in fast. And I mean, it's closing in on me.
That's pretty much how it happened with me too. Like, I caught my big one in between the two storms.
I miss a fish, throw back out there, I catch a dink. I throw 12 inches to the left of that. My bait, my jig, starts swimming off. I catch up with it, set the hook. Zzz! I'm like, oh, I got me a good one too. Got me a good one. And you will see video footage later, I caught me a super fatty that looked like it swallowed a couple bluegill.
Resputia.
A big, yes, that's exactly the term for it. So he inspired me, and all I fished was 25 minutes. And right after I caught that fish, here come the storm. I paddled to the bank, got me some GoPro footage, set the camera down, released the fish, and made it back to the car before the storm arrived. And then a day after that,
I think it was the same.
or it might have been the same day. This man right here.
The day
Look,
after.
this man right here is on a tear. Let me tell you. In fact, years ago, you guys remember the decision LeBron James made. He was with D-Wade, Chris Bosh, just how we're doing. He was like, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. We're coming after 5 championships. So when I got this, the pictures from Cren, again, the first set of pictures, my phone, zip, zip, zip. And I'm like, man, who's, they're catching bass all around right now, and I'm at work. So I look, appreciate him rocking the Ohio's finest blue hoodie. He had that. 1, 2. He said not 1, not 2, not 3. I'm like, cool. Fat fish.
4.
Then the very next day or later that night,
Yeah, it was.
he goes back out and he's like, why are we stopping at 3? I'm gonna do 4 or 5. So what happened, Cren?
Let me see. Me and Chasing Ohio Giants, Junior and Seth, we're heading out. We're talking our little trash as usual. I predict a 7. Seth predicts a 6. Junior says he's just gonna hit a home run with 2 5s. And I'll tell
That
you
shocked me
what,
with Junior because I thought he would say 8 or 9.
Junior, when he says 5, that means 8 or 9, really, because
He's just low ball.
he's just low. That's how he is. But when I tell you that the fish were biting the day after the storm, they were biting. I rolled up on the spot. Seth, he's doing his thing with the chatterbait as usual. He's up 6. And I'm like, we got a rule. You catch 1, that's on you, on me. But when you catch 2, I'm tying on the same one.
Yeah.
My dude Mark Daniels Jr. sent me a custom chatterbait. Shout out MDJ. I'll put this baby on. Had the ride of my life. got off. He got off.
Show you. We've all caught big bass, and we do it every couple weeks. Like, that's our goal, to try to produce one over 5 pounds. But we don't talk about the ones that get off.
Right.
He just said the ride of his life.
We don't like
People think it's easy, that we just go out and boom, we make it happen. But there's a lot of times we fail, or our equipment fails, and we have some of the best equipment.
Right.
Fails more times than not. So go ahead, Crim.
I'm sitting there salty at myself. Junior says, you're a legend. Keep your head down. Put your head down and get on them, because today is the day.
That's what you
I
need.
end up catching 5 bass, pushing 5 or a little over 5. Landed a good 20 bass, over 2.5, 3 pounds.
That's a money.
And we're going to have an epic video coming.
Is this the same day that the knot mishap happened?
Yeah.
The special knot he ties?
My special knot felt me on another giant. And I did. See, we're going to have the mishaps on this film too, because people need to see that, because
Absolutely. It's fishing.
it's fishing.
It's fishing.
Because, like, Chasing Ohio Giants, we really don't post no videos of small ones. We cut all the small fish out.
With a name like that, you got
But,
Yeah, Chasing Ohio.
but we're going to start bringing y'all more fish catches of all the fish catches, so people's not getting down in the dumps when they're using the same baits and thinking, why are they catching all these giants and we ain't? We weed through a bunch of little ones to get to them big ones, though. That's what we don't let people know. It's our little secret.
You definitely got
Secrets out of the bag, man. Bass talk.
We're going to start showing y'all more footage
In the
of
lab.
all the fish. We're going to try to get our content together a little bit, working on our language. And
That's right.
like,
because we want all the subs out there, no matter what age you are. And I have to bring this about, because both of you attended this, and there will be a video coming out. It shocked the heck out of me of how many kids attended that Hooked on Fishing event that I put on. Like, it blew my mind that I talked to people from St. Clairsville all the way up to Columbus, Ohio.
hundreds of people.
there was
Over 350 youth
right.
was there, and over 550 people total was at that event. So that's why it's important. And you're getting better.
Yeah.
That we need all the subs we can get, but the language and all of that, you heard him say, chasing Ohio's Giants is cleaning it up. But hey,
luckily you got an editor like me though that can
hey,
chop all that up. Because I'll be honest, I
We
cut
get
a lot of my
hey,
stuff.
but
we're humans.
We're humans, and we're
still
not
humans.
from chasing Ohio's Giants to River Rat Bassn 33 Productions to Ohio's Finest Outdoors. When you're in the heat of the battle and you've been out there grinding,
A lot of emotion.
and then you get that big bite, and honestly, that first initial jump usually brings out the good in you. It brings out.
Yeah. But
Laughing.
that's what I love about my buddy Seth. He was an avid hunter his whole life, but now I done got him on the bass train, and I watched him grow over the last 3 years. And he's catching a lot of solid fish. He's putting in the work.
It's only up for him, for real.
He's putting in the work. And I used to watch him get so excited over a 10-inch bass. Like, the most excitement. Before we go fishing, I call Junior, and I'd be like, man, me and Seth's going out today. He said, what you going to catch today? I'd be like, man, to be honest, I want to see Seth catch one pushing 8. Like, we've been doing this for so long that we get excited over big fish, but we get a bigger rush putting someone on a big fish.
Amen.
And seeing that light bulb flick, and it's on to the races. It's the biggest rush.
And speaking of that rush, I'll watch you guys, like you and Junior, grow up from 6, 7 years old fishing. And one of the things that I love, they've never ever hated on me. These guys used to look up to me and be like, man, I want to do what Big Cuz is doing. Whatever pole I had, whatever bait I had, him and Junior was like, man, I need to do that. And Junior, this is the honest, he was like, Saul, you're the best fisherman I know. And this was when he was like 7, 8. And he had a dad that went fishing, but he was like, I ain't interested in what my dad's doing or what he's throwing. Junior was like, man, whatever Big Cuz is doing, that's what I'm doing. But I watched these as a kid, and I thank God that we had fishing grow. And to now, they're doing it big. Every other time out, they're catching a giant. I know when that phone goes off, they're doing it big. And then Logan, 33 Oak Productions, we connected on a level outside of fishing first. I mean, fishing brought us together, and then we just chatted for like 1.5 years. And I believe my kids met him before I met him, even though we have talked.
Yeah.
And I never forget, he was like, man, I met your kids today. He was doing tours out at the wilds or working out at the wilds, and they were doing a tour. And my daughter was so excited, like, Dad, somebody said, your dad's Bass Curtis. So she came home and said Bass Curtis, but the relationship that we have built is super strong.
And it keeps it strong.
Yes.
It keeps it strong. Because we were sitting there talking earlier, like, we're sending each other these pictures, but to me, it's a little deeper than that. Like, the connection that we have.
Right.
Like, I don't know Crenshaw, I don't know Saul, but we know that we fish together. We
have that passion.
We all got one goal.
Yeah, one common goal.
And is to let the world see who the greatest is.
Yeah, and that's, to me, that's the power of fishing.
Mm-hmm. And I love it. You know what I love? That power of fishing, and it brings us together. And this is what I love. It don't matter if it's 33 Oak Productions. It doesn't matter if it's River Rat Bassn. It doesn't matter if it's Blue Rock Custom Tackle. It doesn't matter if it's Chasing Ohio's Giants or Ohio's Finest Outdoors. We can all come together, and we all want what's best for one another. Yeah. And it all stems from fishing.
Yeah.
Like, that's why in the future we're going to have more collabo videos, because, man, that collabo video was a hit.
Yeah,
and Logan, man, he put that together perfectly.
Right.
So make sure y'all check that out.
I love seeing all that footage.
And it's done here in the state of Ohio. Which, if you look at the rankings throughout fishing throughout the, look at the rankings of bass fishing throughout the U.S. and Ohio is
it's probably
close to, it's in the
35.
last. No, I think it's worse than that.
Oh.
I think it's like in the last 10. But so we're catching these And we're blessed. We're blessed here in the state of Ohio with something called the AEP. It used to be the AEP Recreation Land, now known as Jesse Owens State Park and the Appalachian Hills. We're blessed here. But I'm telling you, be ready for these stories, because as we're talking right now, we just got some of our videos in the background, and I never, when Logan sets the hook on a big one, he's like, oh my God, oh my God. And that excitement we all have talked about. We all got it when we set the hook on a big one. So we're definitely going to tell you some more stories. We're going to get at fish talk, actually bass talk.
Yeah, I was going to say we got stories that we can't even remember until we start talking about them. But for the most part, I mean, every fishing season we're creating more and more memories with our friends, getting through life with fishing.
That's it, man.
I mean, it does so much for everybody.
And we're getting it all on film now.
Yeah.
We're not doing that story. We're putting the proof in the pudding. It's all gonna be on live footage.
If people could understand, like, the chances of millions of these little tiny fry, the tiny baby bass, it's a one in millions of a chance of that fish growing to be a 5 pound plus. It needs genetics, it needs environment, food, it needs pretty much perfection.
Yep.
And to be able to hook that fish and bring it to the surface and put it in your hands, that's not a common thing to happen. And especially putting it on film, it's powerful.
We're working on it.
It's
powerful.
And it's starting in Ohio, but it's going to lead to bigger places.
And not only bass, too. We're going to do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, that's right. And
we got more footage.
Yeah, and
we got
catfish.
We got
catfish. Mr. Catfish, right? This is Mr. Catfish right here. Mr. Catfish.
Deer on the wall.
Saw guy.
I
got 50 pounds of saw guy in the fridge still I gotta eat.
We gotta do a cooking video.
We're gonna
hey, that's right. We're gonna do it up. Hey.
We got a catch and cook coming up soon.
Fish and eggs before we go. But honestly though, we gotta thank God. Can't do this video without him, because fishing, he's given us fishing to keep us out of the way. And I know that we all have our own story and experiences, and we've all made bad decisions, but overall, we use fishing as an escape, and God has given us that. And it honestly, it gives you a peace of mind. So, but I have to thank this. These videos don't happen without this guy right here.
I appreciate it.
I'm serious. I owe him a lot. 33 Oak Productions, because I had no clue of what it would take to get my YouTube page off. When it comes to electronics, I know my lane. And electronics and putting stuff together, it's not in my lane. So, man, I get him out here, and I know it's a drive for him.
Well, in my opinion, like, I've been blessed with you guys around me. Like, in my perspective, I see all this going on, and I have the capabilities of helping with what I got going on, and I just happen to love bass fishing and love what these guys are doing, and the opportunity to help them, accomplish their dreams. Like, that is my dream. So
he's
it's
definitely
all working.
Yeah,
perfectly.
It's working.
It's a puzzle, and we're getting all the pieces together.
And who knows?
When we get that puzzle together,
who knows?
Nice.
One of these days, we may have a new name to represent all of us. Like, that's not out of the question. We all have our own separate emblems and our own separate names, and that will always be.
Yeah.
But one day, we may be united even more with one name. So,
Stay tuned.
stay tuned. That's it. Stay tuned.